Hey everyone, welcome back. So today's Monday, and we found out that Bitfarms is buying 1,000 Bitcoin. So I'm going to give you my thoughts on it as far as if it's what I think of it basically, and then we'll also take a look at some the data behind it, possible reasons why they're doing it. They didn't provide too many reasons in the press release. We'll get into that as well. We'll look at can't talk. We'll look at the stock, see how it did today based on the news, and we'll call it a day. And then we'll do another video. I got a video coming out on Hive as well for their numbers for December. All right. So as always, this is not financial advice for entertainment purposes only. Do your own research. Don't fall for scams. Spam posts get reported and deleted. All right. So here's the story. Bitfarm buys 1,000 Bitcoin. So now holds over 4,300 Bitcoins in treasury as of January 1st, 2022. So let me see here. A global Bitcoin self-mining company provides Bitcoin purchase and treasury update. Emilio Grodziński, Bitfarms founder and chief executive officer, said, "Our guiding company strategy at Bitfarms is to accumulate the most Bitcoin for the lowest cost and in the fastest amount of time for the benefit of our shareholders. To that end, we continually optimize our capital allocation. With the dip in BTC while mining hardware prices remain high, we seize the opportunity to move cash into BTC. We continue to be committed to executing on our operational growth strategy and delivering our goal of 8 exahash per second by the end of 2022. So here's the metrics on this. During the first week of January 2022, Bitfarms purchased 1,000 BTC for $43.2 million. So basically they paid $43,200 for each Bitcoin. This increased the BTC holdings 30% to over 4,300 as of January 10, 2022. For reference, 1,000 BTC is roughly equivalent to the amount Bitfarms added to the treasury in the third quarter of 2021 and again in the fourth quarter of 2021. So this is just kind of background information. Okay, so let's digest here. So they want to accumulate the lowest cost and the fastest amount of time for benefit of shareholders. All right, here's what I see wrong with that one. The lowest cost is the cost of it, what it costs you to mine. So that's not the lowest cost. When you're buying it at 43,000, that's not the low cost, I believe. I think the lowest cost is when you actually mine it. Their cost is what, 8,000, 7,000 or something like that to mine one Bitcoin. So that's pretty low compared to 43,200, which is what they paid. So that's kind of my take on that. I don't think this is the lowest cost. The lowest cost is by mining. Next is, to that end, we continue to optimize our capital allocation with the dip in BTC price while mining hardware prices remain. Okay, so I will agree here that mining prices remain high. We seize the opportunity to move cash into BTC. Okay, so there's two things here. First one is obviously the mining hardware prices, which is correct. Mining prices hardware it's really high. I mean, you're looking at what, 12,000, 11,000 for I think the new Bitmain XP miners, which are the 140 terahash miners. So those are obviously expensive, but we'll get into breakdown of all of this, the analysis on this part. The other part of it was moving into cash, so I think that's actually okay. If that's the reason they're doing it, to move out of cash and into BTC, this is basically a play against inflation. So in that respect, I'm okay with that. But don't tell me that you're doing it to get the lowest cost for BTC when mining is the lowest cost, at least in my opinion. So let's get back into it here. And then they obviously want to continue committed to executing their operational growth strategy and delivering on 8 exahash by the end of 2022. So we'll take a look at that as well and the numbers. But first, let's take a look at the mining stock. Right, I want to take a look at that. Yep. So here's Bitfarms. Here's the daily or the 1 hour chart for today. We can see the news came out at 6 o'clock. This was in the morning. The stock was at around $3.99 or so. It did go up higher from that a little bit, but it also happens to be that Bitcoin went up in price throughout the day as well. So I think this mirrors basically Bitcoin's move up. If we look at Bitcoin here on the daily, on the 1 hour chart here, let me see, we got this on the daily. If we look at the 1 hour chart, we can see that Bitcoin here in the morning, and then obviously went up in price as they went on. So I think this is correlated to Bitcoin's price going up, not on the news. And I've been a strong proponent of this, that HODL doesn't really mean much to the investors, especially people looking to get into mining stocks. They're looking for hash rate. How much hash rate you're going to be in the next 12 months, 16 months, whatever it's going to be, 18 months, whatever that is. they're looking for growth. They're not looking for, I don't think, HODL, because if that was the case, as far as Mara has HODL and Hot 8 has a lot of HODL as well, the stocks would be worth a lot more for that. But I think the ones that are having the hash rate go up the highest are the ones that are getting the more love, basically, from investors. All right, so there's that. And obviously finished out today pretty good at $4.31, so that's good. So let's take a look at my numbers here. So I got them at 4,300 for the HODL. They are at right now, as far as hash rate, future hash rate, I have them at 6.1, almost 6.2, and they want to get up to 8. So they obviously have a ways to go still, so they need to purchase miners, unless I'm missing something here where they report something that they're going to get 2 exahash worth of miners that I haven't seen, which I doubt that's the case. But if it is the case, let me know. Their current hash rate is at 2.2 exahash, so obviously a ways to go from that if they want to reach that in this year. What else do I want to show you? Oh, so right now their HODL position to market capital is basically 24% of, almost 25%. 25% of their HODL position is their market cap. So basically 200 million is market cap of that, and then only 600,000 is their mining, basically prowess, if you want to call it such as that. But here's my thoughts on it as we go down here. Created a little table and some notes here. So hopefully you guys can see this pretty well. I may zoom this in for you guys a little bit. Let's see here. Let's zoom this in to 150. Maybe go 200. Okay. I think this is pretty good. So here's kind of my breakdown. So they paid basically excuse me, 1,000 shares for 43,200 roughly. I added 43,003. Let's change that to 43,200. So they paid 43.2 million for it. I'm guessing that the XPs, the 140 terahash miners, are about 11,000. I'm just guessing on here. If you're buying volume, you're obviously going to get a better price than you or I if we were to buy 5 or 10 of them or something like that. So they could possibly buy about 3,927 of those miners. Those miners currently are generating $30.57 daily. Obviously, if you can't get them in for 6 months, 8 months, price is going to obviously change depending on where the Bitcoin price is and the network hash rate. But right now, if we're looking at it, total daily income would be around 128,000. Monthly income would be around 3.6 million. And yearly income would be around 43.82 million, which is basically what you paid in for these within a year. So once those are installed, within a year, you would have basically your ROI in 1 year. I'm not accounting into this as far as expenditures, so electricity, getting those installed, overhead costs, things like that. So we're looking at maybe closer to possibly 14 months at the worst case scenario, I would think, and depending where the price goes of Bitcoin and the hash rate, maybe at the worst case 14 to 16 months ROI on these. So that's not bad. So these are the 140 terahash miners. Total hash rate would be around 549 million terahash, which would be basically 550 petahash on these miners. Oh, I have these at not terahash. I have this listed as mega hashes. So it'd be 140, so it'd be only 549,000, I believe, terahash, and then that equals 550 petahash. So that's kind of what my thinking is on this. Would it have been better for them to buy the miners? But then here's kind of what I was thinking. So here's a couple of reasons why I think maybe they bought this Bitcoin, and then you guys can let me know what you guys think of it as well. So reasons for buying 1,000 Bitcoins. One, they could believe investors are looking for HODL, right? So this is where you see other companies are doing a lot of HODL. Marathon, for instance, has a lot, but their price is also reflecting the number of miners that they're going to have installed this year, which they're going to reach like 22 or 23.3 exahash, which is just crazy. So I think that's where the price is being driven by, is the hash rate growth, not the HODL position. Number two is use as collateral for loans. So this is something that they absolutely could do. They obviously have now almost 200 million worth of Bitcoins. They could use this as collateral for loans going forward. And if Bitcoin also goes up in price, we could obviously get better deals and things like that. But that's a big but right there. The other thing is they're already down $1 million from their investment when they invested at 43,200 on it. Bitcoin's down to under 42,000 right now, so they're down 1.2 million on their investment right now as it is. So that's one possibility here. Hedge against inflation, sure, it could be hedge against inflation. We know inflation is going to be kind of crazy. We'll see where it ends up this year, but a lot of people are thinking that inflation is going to be a little crazy the maybe first quarter, second quarter, and we'll see how things go in third quarter, where things may slow down a little bit as the Fed starts raising rates and things like that. So something to pay attention to. Next is miner delivery is too many months out, i.e. 12 months or more. So obviously this makes sense. If you can't get the miners in anyways, you might as well buy Bitcoin and just hold on to Bitcoin. If you're looking at 16, 18 months out for deliveries on these new miners because everybody's buying them up, well then yeah, I'm okay with it. I mean, if you can't get the miners, you might as well get Bitcoin instead. So that would be one instance where I'd be okay with it if that was the case. But if they can't get the miners within 8 months to 12 months, I think they should have been buying the miners instead. Next is obviously infrastructure not in place to support the additional miners. So they won't, right now they are at 6.2 exahash reported. They want to get to 8. You obviously have to build out your infrastructure, or you have to get rid of some of the older miners. So we'll take a look at some of the older miners that they do have that they could possibly get rid of to put in place with the new miners that are more efficient. So that's another possibility obviously as well. This is just something that they have to build out, because you can't just put these in anywhere. You have to have infrastructure in place to support these, or you have to go out to third parties and see if you can host with them your miners, and then that way you're making a little bit less, or you're still making good money, but you're still making a little bit less on that. And then maybe the belief is that Bitcoin's bottom is in, so they could be thinking that the Bitcoin has basically bottomed out close to the 40,000 mark, and we could go up to what some are saying the 100,000 mark this year. If that's the case, then great. Yeah, you're going to go up. What is that going to be? 1.2% or 120% or so on that. So that 43 million could become almost 50 million or something like that by the end of the year. So, or that 40, yeah, it'll become almost 100 million basically if that happens. So that's not a bad play either, but I would still rather have them get the miners. But if they're doing the other things where it's, using it as collateral for loans, fine with it, that's fine. Go ahead and do that. And then if you just don't have the infrastructure in place yet right now, and you got to find electricity and things like that, and if you're just sitting on cash, go ahead and do that. I think that would be fine as well. But overall, I would rather prefer them to get miners if they could, and if they have the infrastructure in place. So let's take a look at some of the miners that they could get rid of that would free up some of the space here. They do have some of these miners that are older ones. These are the ones here that are the 68 terahash, the 72 terahash possibly. They are the least efficient that they have currently, and you do have quite a bit of them. They have 4,000, almost, 4,000, possibly 3 here, so 7,000, about 10,000 miners that they could replace with the newer generation miners and free up. Obviously, you're losing some hash rate there, but you're also gaining a lot more from the newer miners being more efficient and things like that. And you can also sell these out and still probably make a good change on these. So that is it. That's all I got for you guys on Bitfarms. That's just my take on it right now with everything where Bitcoin is at right now. I still have them at being way undervalued in my opinion. They should be closer to $9 on the very low end and close to $13 on the more in line I would think that this should be. So they're still way undervalued in my opinion. But that's just me. Oh, and also as full disclosure, I do own Bitfarms. So I have I have game in this obviously, but I'm being critical here because I think they could have done something better here. Let me know what you guys think. And we'll go from there. See you guys in the next one. Until then,